Politics is commonly associated with formal power, laws, armies, money, and institutions, arenas historically dominated by men. Yet political understanding is not only forged through holding power, it is also shaped by navigating life without it. From this perspective, women have often developed a deeper, more intuitive grasp of politics than men, precisely because of their physical vulnerability and their social positioning around beauty and desirability. These conditions have forced women to understand power early, intimately, and from the inside out. From a biological standpoint, women are, on average, physically weaker than men. This reality has had profound social consequences across history. Lacking the consistent ability to rely on brute force, women have had to cultivate alternative strategies for survival and influence: emotional intelligence, social awareness, persuasion, alliance building, and long-term thinking. Politics, at its core, is not about strength. It is about leverage. Those who cannot dominate must learn how power actually works. Women, by necessity, have often learned this lesson early in life. Physical vulnerability also heightens political awareness. When one's safety, reputation, or autonomy can be affected by the decisions and moods of others, attention becomes a survival skill. Many women grow up learning to read rooms, anticipate reactions, manage conflict indirectly, and assess risk continuously. These are not merely social skills, they are political skills. They mirror the competencies required in diplomacy, negotiation, and governance far more closely than physical dominance ever could. At the same time, access to beauty has historically functioned as a paradoxical form of power for women. Beauty does not grant authority in a formal sense, but it creates influence within systems that otherwise exclude. Navigating this influence requires acute political judgment: when to use it, when to conceal it, when it is an advantage, and when it becomes a liability. Beauty attracts attention, but attention is not power unless it is managed carefully. Women often learn, sometimes painfully, that visibility can bring both opportunity and danger. Understanding that duality deepens one's grasp of how power operates beneath the surface. Importantly, this kind of power is unstable and conditional. Unlike institutional authority, titles, wealth, or physical force, beauty fades, shifts, and is controlled by external standards. As a result, women who rely on it must also learn to plan beyond it. This encourages strategic thinking, adaptability, and an understanding of time, qualities essential to political insight. Experiencing temporary or fragile power teaches lessons that permanent power often obscures. Men, by contrast, are more frequently socialized to experience power directly or to believe it is their natural state. Physical strength, social permission to assert dominance, and historical access to institutions can delay the realization that power is negotiated rather than guaranteed. When power feels innate, it is easier to misunderstand its mechanics. Many men only encounter true powerlessness later in life, through economic loss, political defeat, or social marginalization, while many women encounter it from the beginning. This is not to say that all women understand politics better than all men, nor that vulnerability automatically produces wisdom. Rather, the argument is that women are more likely to be trained by circumstance rather than choice in the realities of power. They experience its limits, its costs, and its trade-offs early. They learn that control is rarely absolute, and that influence often flows through indirect channels. In this sense, women are not born politically superior, but they are born into conditions that make political awareness unavoidable. Physical weakness and socially mediated power push women to study the rules of influence closely, because misunderstanding them carries real consequences. Politics, after all, is not just what happens in parliaments or elections. It is the daily negotiation of power, safety, desire, and survival. Understanding politics does not require standing at the center of power. Often, it is those on the margins, those who must maneuver carefully rather than command freely, who see power most clearly.